Bike-Geek coming at you at the Wheeler Criterium in Oklahoma City in the new Wheeler district. This is a new course that we're getting to race on. This is the second race of the summer series, and this is the A race. So the A race is typically going to be designated for category 1, 2, 3 riders, and it's kind of a you select your category and where you think that you fit in. So we're going to get started here in the way here pretty quickly, and then what you're going to notice is right off the bat, we're going to see an attack, like straight off the start line. And so no warm up here, just ready to rip right out of the gate. And going through turn 1, we already are starting to push some pretty big watts. And if you look through turn 2, you're going to see a couple riders sneaking off the front already. You can see a group forming off the front there. It's early on, not even a half lap in. And so I'm not really terribly worried about it, but there goes 2 riders out the side of the screen there. And then we're hitting the second turn. So it's pretty much game on. So not a big surprise. Boxcar had the most amount of riders in the team. Watch to the left. There goes Dempsey Cifuentes and Rob Bell. Now alarm bells are definitely going off in my head right now because we already have the biggest team of the night, Boxcar, represented up the road. And then there goes the 2 strongest riders of the night. Dempsey just got his Cat 2 upgrade, and he's been proven strong all year. Rob, he speaks for himself. So now we're setting in, and I'm definitely thinking, well, crap, that sucks. There goes 2 riders off the front, another breakaway kind of in the front and splintered up already. And there's a lot of turns in this course, so you can't sneak up a whole lot of positions, and at this speed you really can't move up at all. So I had spoken to, we have, let's see, myself, Will, and Andrew Farmer in this race, and Will had done the Cat 3 race, and I want to say he got third, I believe, the B race, so he's pretty tired. We knew he was tired going into it, and so Farmer is going pretty good, but he's not super fit right now, so the plan was, if I miss the break, I'm going to rely on them to get me across to it, and that's what we knew the plan was going to be. So we're definitely going to need to employ those tactics at some point because that breakaway has already gone and we're just now getting started. We're just 3 minutes into this race. So definitely getting nervous. And here we see Andy coming back. So this is not typical for Andy. He's, I think, been doing a lot of gravel riding. Didn't anticipate that he was going to come backwards on us. So we kind of go through them and it's splintering all around. It's pandemonia. And it's just stay in as best as possible. There's riders trying to separate themselves off the front, and it's just out of control, honestly. So you can see it's not totally gone at this point, but definitely nobody can get off the gas. It's full gas, full commitment. Don't let gaps open. If gaps are opening and someone's not pinning it, basically, you got to go through them. And so that's where we're at. It's an emergency situation right now. And so that's Andrew in front of me, my teammate on the green bike. And he knows that whenever I latch onto his wheel, he's got to give me everything he's got to launch me across. Now, we're definitely in a deficit here because there's a lot of horsepower up the road. I'm not, I'm not the guy that can lap a field solo, so I'm going to need a lot of help here. And so we're going to take this turn here, and that breakaway is still not too far away. It's a little too far. I'm not a sprinter, so I'm not going to be able to jump across that. So I'm going to find Andrew's wheel. Andrew's looking for me. He looks over. I connect. I let him know, yo, I'm on, and he's going to give me everything he's got now. Now, Andrew's been training, but he hadn't been training a lot, so we're definitely making up some ground here. But you can see that breakaway is big. So it's basically a Hail Mary at this point. Like, we have got to go. And so he's dig, and now we're starting to slow down, so I got to go through him. You can see the camera's shaking, so I'm in a full-blown sprint. I'm panicking. I got to get across. This gap's already too big. And there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys up the road or something like that. And these corners are tight, but I'm definitely just hoping and praying I don't clip a pedal. We go through that one, and it's flat out again, sprint, because right now it's either do intervals or this race is over. And all I can do at this point is pray that they're not working well together. And that they will just hesitate for a minute. So it's dig time, and I'm really looking for somebody to come through and help me out with this gap to help close it down. There's nobody else who's going to be, there's a lot of individual riders in the group right now. So here we go. We get an individual rider that comes through perfect, right on time. I'm hurting, heart rate's high, and he comes through, and I'm like, thank the Lord he's coming through. So I'm like, right on, bro, let's get this, let's just keep the power down. So this is exactly what he should do. He doesn't have any teammates, so he needs to work with me. So I'm like, this is good, we can do this, let's close it, and now we're working hard. And notice I had to slot in behind him because nobody was willing to take up the next spot. So we make this next turn, hit the next straightaway, and he turns around, gets ready to flick me through, and then on my right here, bam, Air Force guy attacks. This was a fair move, I'll say that, but it would have been probably better suited if he just would have rolled through more smoothly and just kept the power down. So I managed to stay on the wheel kind of, but I'm hurting. I did a pull, the other guy did a pull, and now he's going to sprint us out of every turn. Again, fair move, but the downside is he doesn't have any teammates either. So he sees that we're getting close, so he's very motivated to get across. It's not wrong, but he's likely going to pay for this later because that breakaway is a big breakaway. So when we get across, there's a good possibility that it's not going to stay that big, or that there's definitely going to be a counter move. It would be pretty ridiculous if there weren't a counter move. So he's pretty confident in his fitness. I'm struggling because I just did that big effort to get us across for more than half a lap, and now we're finally getting there, and we make the connection. And there's one rider off the front. I'm not really sure who that is at this point. I can't see that far up the road, but I know that I've made it to this group of riders, and I'm very thankful for that at this point. So now it's just please don't anybody attack. I need to recover. I'm absolutely at red line. I was not ready for that start at all. And so now there's some definite jockeying for position for who's going to pull, who's not going to pull. And there's some people, kind of looking around at each other. So I'm definitely just glad that we're attached on now at this point. The pace is still really high, obviously. We go through, and now the pace gets high again, and there is some regular stuff going on. And on the straightaway, there were some potholes that you had to kind of watch out for, and this turn was trickier than it looks. I really struggled with it in the beginning. I had to go over the bricks several times. Later on, I figured out that you didn't have to touch the bricks if you went in tight. A lot of people figured that out. There's definitely a smoother, faster way. So now we're hitting the straightaway. You can see there's some splintering going on up the road now. And right here is where a boxcar rider, I think that's Hodges, he's done. He's punching his ticket. And guess what? The Air Force rider is now suffering. The gaps are going. And he did all those intervals out of the corners and attacked the chase group, so now he's definitely hurting. And that's a problem because this is kind of a make or break scenario right here. So I don't have the gas to get through there, but I'm like, man, we've got to, we can't let this go. We've got to shut this down. They're trying to get up to that solo rider up the road, so it's like we got to go. And then we've got another boxcar rider that knows he's got a teammate up the road, and he's probably hurting a little bit as well. And so he's just going to let his teammate roll up the road and let that gap open up. Now, this is exactly what a teammate should be doing for, if they're feeling it right there. He sees that there's a chase group. He knows he's actually got two guys up the road. He's got Evan and Paul up the road, so he's not going to work, and I know that he's not going to work. Now, I could get really upset, throw a fit, scream and holler, but this is exactly what he should be doing. He's protecting his teammates. He's policing the front. He's going to cover anybody that attacks and tries to get up there. I don't have any teammates at this point. Will and Andrew are gone. And I'm not entirely confident that the guys that I was pulling around to get back up to this group aren't going to attack me. So I don't necessarily want to do a bunch of work either. So at this point, I'm looking for somebody else to kind of do some work, get up here and show some motivation that they're willing to work together. But at this point, it seems like everybody in the chase group's just going to be kind of complacent with just letting that roll. That was a really hard first 10 minutes in that race. Everyone was absolutely at maximum, they were pegged. And so everyone's hurting anyway, so nobody trusts anybody because it was a little bit cutthroat in the beginning. So now this boxcar rider is just going to sit on the front and take his time going through the turns. You can see we're not going fast at all. So he's just going to wait for other riders to get frustrated, and he's going to shut them down, and that's exactly what he should be doing. So now we just wait, basically. So we see, I'm just waiting, like, is there going to be somebody that's going to come through? And this is dangerous because, I know how much horsepower is up the road. There's not a lot I can do about it. Don't have any teammates. I'm new to the course. Some of these guys have already raced this course once. So I'm like, well, I guess this is it. And I'm in my head, I'm like, I'd like to not get lapped, basically. But if that's just kind of what we're doing tonight, I guess that's what we're doing. So we're just sitting here. I'm waiting for someone else to roll through. And at some point, there goes Dan Larson. He's ready to not call it quits yet. Dan's a really smart racer. And I can't speak for Dan, but I'm going to guess that he's assuming if we can keep the pace high enough, at some point, if we can keep them within striking distance, we may be able to pull it back late in the race. And this is exactly what I'm hoping for anyway, too. So when Dan comes through, that gives me a bit of motivation. He didn't attack us. He just rolled through. Dan's super, super strong. He's certainly fit enough to be in the breakaway. He's fit enough to drive the breakaway. But just like some others of us in the field, we just weren't in the right place at the right time when the move happened. So that's good and motivating that Dan's willing to come to the front. And I'm still just feeling it out at this point. So, it's coming to a point now in the race where we're probably all realizing we're not going to make the breakaway, so we might as well just go hard at this point. The tactics are going to be working against us. We have no teammates up the road. None of us have any teammates, so maybe we should just start working here in a little while, and I think that's probably what you're going to see here in just a little bit. So there goes Dan again, and he's still interested in keeping the pace high. So I would call this kind of a rallying of the troops. This is kind of an effort to extend somewhat of an olive branch to say, yo, I'm here, I'm ready to work, and if you guys want to do this, I'm willing to do it too. So now we see these riders have been sitting on. They haven't, contributed a lot of work yet, so we're hoping that they'll start rolling through. And I'm not sure if they know that the boxcar rider in front of us has two teammates up the road or not. So I think they're just now starting to figure out. So they're starting to pull through, and now it's starting to become a little bit more cohesive. So yeah, it's starting to look a little better, honestly. And here we have another rider coming back to us at this point. So this was a little bit confusing. And actually, I'm watching this for the first time now as well. So we'll have to wait and see who this is and what the story is here. I think we've got a lapped rider is what's going on there. The course wasn't super long, so it was easy to, if you got spit off the back, it was pretty easy to get lapped. I think he was a lapped rider. If not, I apologize. I didn't recognize him from the video. And I've broken a lot of helmets in my life, so sorry about that if I didn't recognize you there. So we're just going to keep rolling now. So now the speed's up. We've got some guys in the front doing the right thing now, rolling through and taking a turn on the front. And so this is good. This is exactly what we need to do. So we're here. We missed the break. We might as well get a workout in. And you never know. Something can happen in the brake. The brake can stop working together, or they can start attacking each other. heaven forbid they could crash. Like, there's so many things that can happen in a race. So you don't want to just give it up. Honestly, you want to kind of keep it rolling and kind of keep the cards on the table at least, and see if in case something later can happen. If you look forward through the course, though, you can see that they're for sure out of sight at this point. So it's a little bit demoralizing, but at some point, you just got to do the best with what you got, essentially, and which is not a lot for us. So here we see that boxcar rider making a move. He wants to try to go clear of us. There's no reason why we should let him do that. He's already got 2 teammates up the road, so that's not something that we have any interest in allowing to happen. He's been sitting on and not really contributing to any of the pace making to help bring him back. Obviously, it would be a smart move if you could go across solo. It's not likely going to happen given how much horsepower is up the road, but that's exactly what he should be trying to do. If he's not covering attacks, then he needs to try to get across by himself. So obviously that's what's going to happen. And he may have been able to see up the road. My eyes aren't as good as some of these younger guys out here, and he may have been able to see that there was a rider coming back to us as well. I'm not really sure if that's what his motivation was. So we pull him back, obviously, and then the next person rolls through, and then so I'm just going to kind of follow wheels here. These turns were really good, so they're a little tricky, and it's kind of like a continual turn, even those 2 turns, and then this one gets really tight. I did hear somebody scrape a pedal through this one, so you do have to watch it a little bit, but all the turns, like, this is a super fun course. I'm really glad and thankful that we have it good. I appreciate those who are working hard to make it happen. It's pretty cool. A lot of people coming out to watch too. There's a brewery on site, a coffee shop on site, local residents inside the housing district. Those of you that live in Tulsa, if you're not coming down for this one, you are wrong. This course, hate to say it, but it pretty much blows away the courses that I've raced on in Tulsa. I'd kind of make it, if I was going to make a comparison, I would say it's a little more akin to the Sand Springs course than anything, but without a climb. So Dan, you got to watch. He's a slippery snake. He will sneak away from you if you're not careful. So I'm going to roll through. We caught Dan. I'm going to roll through it. I'm just going to keep the pace high. So at this point, I think, well, we might as well just kind of go all in. We might as well just keep the power high. And if riders come back to us, they come back to us. If not, we get a good workout in. I've got no cards to play here. I got no teammates. I got nobody in the break. I'm not here all alone. Most of our racers ended up racing the B race this evening. So all of them are either headed home or watching from the sidelines cheering us on. So I'm just going to do what I can and just kind of put some work in, honestly, and just kind of keep the pace as high as I can. There goes that boxcar rider again, definitely trying to stick a knife in my side. Definitely knowing that I'm hurting. I just pulled Dan back, took a half-lap pull. Everybody's hurting just a little bit, so they're going to try to make an effort off the front. That's Aaron and Daniel with them. Aaron's a super strong mountain bike racer. I've had the misfortune of having to race against him quite a few times, and he can really throw down. And here's Hodges. So Hodges had come back from the breakaway group earlier on in the race. He just kind of got caught on the back foot a little bit and went backwards for a little while, and then he and Andy worked together, and if you were watching the group camp, and caught back up to our group, so he contributes a little bit of work, just kind of rolls through, very gentleman kosher move there, and that helps us kind of just keep our momentum to bring these riders back. So that's nice, and then we get caught, we catch them, definitely put some work in on the front. Speed's high, so I just keep it going, just roll it straight through them, and just want to keep that pace high. So now that we've settled in, it takes me a while to get going. I'm 41, so I got to run choke for a little while. But now that we're almost 20 minutes into this race or whatever, Yeah, but now I feel like I can probably get the gas on and keep it on, so I'm not afraid to do some pace making now. And also don't have a choice. So if we want to have any shot at a podium spot, any of us, we need to just keep the pace really high. So Hodges is going to roll through too. I'm definitely not upset about this. I'm definitely glad he's coming through. I am a little bit surprised because at this point he's still got Paul and Evan up the road. But I think that he was just ready to kind of it took him a little while to warm up as well, but once he warmed up, he was doing just fine, so he's probably ready to kind of get his workout in for the night as well. So he rolls through, and then I'm going to take back over here, and you can definitely tell that there's some riders skipping pulls again. It's a little bit disheartening, because if everyone would have been contributing equally, I feel like we would have actually had a shot. But whatever, we're going to get the workout in either way. So this turn right here is a little tricky. You can take, if you go wide, you can take that inside line, inside the manhole cover. If you can't make it on the inside line, you can go across that manhole cover, just don't hit your brakes. It's bumpy, but you can still do just fine. You can also go on the outside of it. It's not that big of a deal. This one, kind of same deal. You want to just kind of clip that outer edge of the manhole cover and then try to go inside the inside. That is not a place to try to move on, just so y'all know. If there's any newer riders out there, just take that line smooth, arc it nicely, and you'll carry more speed that way, I promise. So now we have the Air Force rider and the boxcar rider trying to make a little dig off the front again after all that pace making that I just did. Little bit frustrating, no doubt about it. Rather than just rolling through, because he doesn't have a teammate up the road either. Probably should have just rolled through and helped me with the pulls, and we would definitely be a little further up the road. But alas, all we're really doing whenever we attack each other like this is just setting up more of the dominant team of the night to have a better shot at getting up the road and or keeping your guys up the road. So now they're a little bit frustrated, and so I'm going to pick the pace back up and get the work going again, and hopefully that everyone will kind of snap to it and fall in line and start taking pulls as well. If not, whatever, I'm just going to get a good workout in. But it's definitely frustrating at this point because everybody should be rolling through. They shouldn't be sticking in on the front for extended amounts of time because there is no podium spot up the way. Currently, we still have Emerson Cifuentes, Dempsey Cifuentes, Rob Bell, Paul Pavin, I think that's it at this point now. So we still at least have 4 riders off the front. So guys, there's only 3 podium spots, and this is not for USA Cycling upgrade points. So why you wouldn't just go all in and start working together as a chase group is kind of beyond me. Now, I can totally understand if you have teammates up the road why you wouldn't work, but there's 4 people in this chase group with me who do not have any representation up the road, and at this point, there's just no reason why they shouldn't be working at all, unless their goal is just to beat one particular person in this chase group. So, I don't care at this point. I'm just going to keep rolling through, keep working, and just try to keep the pace high because, like I said earlier, you never know what's going to happen in a break. I'm going to try to just keep the pace high, and hopefully something happens that kind of puts us back in the running. So I'm trying to think here. Let's see. So we've got, I said it before, but currently we've got Evan, we've got Paul, we've got Rob Bell, we've got Emerson, and we've got Dempsey. So I said earlier we had 4 up the road. We actually have 5 still left up the road. There's no chance at a podium spot currently, so everyone, like I keep saying, should just be working and trying to keep the pace really high and not attacking each other, and just kind of like, man, we need to pick some riders off. So I'm still just going to keep rolling and keep the pace high and try to keep the speed high, and that way, whatever deficit we have, you can see some riders up in front of us at the very end of the straightaway. I don't know if those are going to be lapped riders or if those are riders in the break. I'm definitely hoping they're riders in the break or riders that are getting dropped off the break, but I have no clue. I don't have anyone on the the sidelines telling me what's going on. I can't discern who that is up the road, but I know that I want to keep the pace high, and even if it is a lapped rider, I want to get through him clean anyway. But so we're going to find out here in a little while kind of who that is, honestly. So we got 5 up the road. We've got in our chase group, we've got Air Force, we've got the boxcar rider, we've got 2 boxcar riders, we've got Dan Larson, we've got myself, and let's see, I think we counted that. We've got Aaron and Daniel, and we've got Dan Larson, and we've got Guy in red. I don't know his name. So here's kind of a surprise. Let's see. I missed who that was. I think that was a lapped rider, actually. So the surprise, I guess, is coming a little later. 5 up the road. We've got another rider. I think this might be Victor Cassius, really strong mountain bike rider, but he was in a breakaway of 2 riders with actually my teammate Dan Tigert. I think he won the B race, and Dan got second. So Victor's definitely got some tired legs, and so he's going to be coming around to get lapped. So no shame in that. He's super tired from being in a breakaway for like 40 minutes. So he held on for as long as he could in the A race, but I'm telling you, man, the pace was maddening whenever we got started. So no big surprise that he was struggling holding on. He's super fast though, and if he was fresh in this race, I'm sure that he would be right at home in either the breakaway or the chase group that we're in either one. So we're going to go through him and see what we got coming in. So there's lap traffic, and this is a non-USA cycling event. So no lapped riders are getting pulled, so they just kind of are going to get to complete their workout. So that's kind of nice. And our numbers aren't super high, so it's not as if it's really necessary to pull that many lapped riders. So this was Ryan Holzberg, so he lasts quite a while as well. He's getting lapped right now. Also a super fit rider. Sometimes makes guest appearances on our team as well. And I think he's probably going to jump into our group. And so now we see the straightaway. We don't really see any riders, so it looks like that traffic that we saw in that straightaway was probably just those lapped riders getting caught. But it's really tough to tell, honestly. They're only giving us splits, and it's just kind of tough to tell. So we're kind of settling into a pretty good pace. The Air Force rider is doing a great job setting some tempo now. He's got probably a little bit of steam out of his legs, or in his legs, I should say. And so he's definitely seeing the merits in doing some work and helping get those riders back. I know that boxcar rider's not going to do any work. He's got teammates off the front, so I'm going to come through again and do some work. So I will say I was super tired after this race. I did not anticipate putting in this many digs this many times. So, but like I said, play the cards you're dealt. So it's basically clear road in front of us. I can see another lone rider, and I'm just praying at this point. I'm like, man, please somebody get popped out of the brake. Please somebody get popped out of the brake. And if we can, then that means we can probably pick up a rider. My hope is that it's not the boxcar rider, but because we've got 2 BC riders in our group, so that would probably make them want to throw out some attacks. So I'm really hoping it's someone else at this point, but we will see who it is. I'm not really sure. So if anyone doesn't know what the Wheeler District is, it is a housing addition that's meant to kind of inspire the active lifestyle with a thought process of being kind of its own little self-sustainable ecosystem. So they've got their own little stores and access to the river trail, and they've got shop, and it's all kind of just in its own little ecosystem bubble. So they currently, and always have actually, built with the intention of being very welcoming of cyclists in general and people who adhere to an active lifestyle. It's not a super cheap place to live, from what I understand, but it's pretty niche and pretty cool. So this is really surprising. Look to the right. That's Paul. So I did not anticipate seeing Paul come back to the break. So I'm not really sure if he got dropped from the break or if he had mechanical or what the story was. But that is not typical for Paul at all. He's another boxcar rider, so that puts 3 boxcar riders in our group. So that probably means we're going to get ganged up on a little bit now, and they are likely going to want to disrupt the chase a bit. But at this point, that's not the case. I'm very thankful for that. And we got Chastain back in the picture now as well. And I think we got another lapped rider coming through at this point. So now we've got one less rider in the break. That's 4 riders in the break. So I'm kind of doing the math as I go, and I'm like, man, that's really good news. That means we're 1 place off of the podium now. So, or 2, I should say. We got to at least be in 3rd. But that also means there's less horsepower up the road as well. So it seems like the chase group's getting a bit more motivated. So that's promising to see. It's definitely allowing me not to have to sit on the front as much. So very happy to see that. I'm not really sure why Paul came off. So Dan's going to make a go of it. Dan's a time trialist, and I know, boy, you sure cannot let him go. And I did tonight anyway, went pretty decent through this turn. So I'm going to cover Dan because I don't want to let him slip away. He saw the opportunity for some lap traffic, and if he can get 100 meters on the field, he's gone. I mean, he has the time trial capabilities that are uncanny. So I don't want to let him slip away. I definitely want to make sure he stays in our group. I'd like to see him contributing in our group, but he knows that if he can get off solo, that he's not going to have a problem holding that. And so after trying so hard to get this break back, I would definitely prefer him be with us and us not just be chasing him. So Andy makes a pretty good draft, so I like tucking him behind him. Sorry, Dan, but he did. So still clear roads in front of us. We're 33 minutes roughly into this race, and still no sign of the breakaway at this point. So it seems a little gloomy at this point. There's definitely some doubts in my mind that what are we doing? I'm on the front again. I'm doing a crap ton of work again. Who's going to come through? No one's coming through. Okay, great. I guess I'll sit up here and work some more. So, but at this point, again, not really any choice. And I'm pretty taxed. I mean, I'm really sick of closing gaps. There's a lot of attacks. I keep having to cover attacks, and it's just like getting old at this point. And that's the point, right? Like they want to try to wear me down, and they want to try to get clear. So obviously they want to try to go solo across if we're going to take a breakaway or try to get something else going. My interest currently is to keep this chase group together and just take whatever pulls I can take from whoever I can take them from. So Boxcar is going to be a little more motivated to start doing some work now, or to try to get a rider across, because they know that now they only have one guy in the break, and they're going to be, so their guys are going to be outnumbered by the Cifuentes brothers, which both are just a huge force to be reckoned with. So not great odds for them right now, so they need to probably set something up to try to get a rider across to them. They had, I think, 6 riders in the field, so they were definitely by far the biggest field of the night. So they definitely want to try to get someone else up there if they can. So it looks like we got another lapped rider coming back through. Couldn't see who that was, sorry. But looking through the field now to kind of see where's that breakaway, how's it looking. Everyone's honestly just kind of trying to figure out what tactics to play. There's not a lot of tactics right here, right now that make sense, honestly, with the breakaway being as gone as it is. The best thing that a boxcar could do right now is probably get two guys off the front of this chase group and let them work together to try to get across. And right now they're probably hoping and praying that Evan can stick in that break and that he doesn't get worked over by Rob and Emerson and Dempsey. But we shall see kind of how that goes. So I'm going to go back to the front again and just set as high of a tempo as possible and kind of just pray that that breakaway implodes or something happens. And here comes Andy. He's steamrolling through and I'm like, oh, thank the Lord. Now that Andy's pulling, that usually means that this tempo is going to get high and stay high. He's kind of a freight train. When he gets that motor rolling, it's usually pretty quick. He was kind of one of the several people that at the beginning of this race just probably there's a lot of us that just weren't ready for that just kind of shocker paddles to the system. It was so brutal high and so fast that kind of caught a lot of us off guard. But he's warmed up now. He's kind of a big motor, and once he gets rolling, he's rolling good. So he's taking us fast through these turns, and I'm very, very pleased that he's willing to get up there and do some work at this point. So, so now we've got, we're hitting straight away, we're rolling, we're going fast enough that no one really wants to come through, and that's A-okay, honestly, and we've got some other lap traffic coming, which is Andy's going to pull off and look for the next rider to go through, which was Hodges, I'm not sure who that is, but another boxcar rider, and this was a bit, let's see, what do we got? So Victor's coming up to get lapped again. So this did get pretty confusing because we had some riders that were getting lapped twice. And then this was a big shock. That's Emerson. So Emerson was in the breakaway. So big change now. And that other boxcar rider saw this opportunity. Once he saw Emerson connecting to the race, he knows now, because he was in the breakaway earlier, that breakaway is actually just a breakaway of Dempsey, Evan, and Rob now. So now there's only 3 off the front. That rider, I think that was Paul. He saw Emerson coming back and knew strike now. Emerson probably won't be able to go with him because he's probably really tired, which is why he got popped out of the break and make a go of it. And so, Hodges is he's rolling through in the front. Or sorry, that might be Cook. I don't know. But he's not going to chase his teammate back. So Emerson is tired, but he's going to try to pull through as best as possible, take us through this turn. And that other boxcar rider is kind of making that effort to get across there. He's not making a lot of ground at this point. No one went with him, so it's definitely a danger, though. We don't want to let that go. And so we're going to monitor that really closely and just hope that he doesn't put any time on us. So I'm going to come through because I don't like the looks of this. If he gets off the front and another boxcar rider gets out of our chase group and makes it across to him, now we've got a slippery situation on our hands and we've got no shot at catching a break then. So I'm going to throw another bunch of matches out there and just didn't bury myself again and bring this rider back. Definitely putting it in TT mode, picking the pace up, and kind of hunting him down. So he sees us coming, he lets off the gas, tries to go smooth through those turns and get as much recovery as possible. That might have actually been Hodges. So yeah, sorry, Chad. That's Hodges, I believe. So that was a good effort on his part, but no one went with him, so he kind of got stuck out there. So now I'm tired again because I just had to chase someone else back, do some work. But he gets us rolling again. So kind of a kosher move on his part, and then he just moves out of the way and lets us come through again. So after chasing him back, now I'm back on the front again. So if you all want a lesson on what not to do when racing, basically everything I've done in this race is exactly what you don't do. So I'm just burying myself, trying to put as much speed down as possible to try to get some of those riders back from that breakaway, and just hope that we can get them inside. And I know too that Dempsey's probably going to make a move, and if he does and really puts his head down, it's a good shot that he's going to lap us. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. And I'm also kind of curious, are they all three together? I can't see them on any part of the course, so I'm just guessing at this point. So I'm just going to keep the speed high, just keep it rolling and coming through, keep the speed high. Whatever gap they have on us, I don't want it to grow anymore because we're definitely running out of real estate here. And here comes some riders pulling through, so they pull through pretty hard. So I definitely have to kind of dig a little to stay on that wheel. So I do my best to stay on. So get on, try to get low. The rider in front of me is not putting off a huge draft. He's got a pretty aero position. So I'm just trying to get as low as possible, go through this turn, and let's see what happens. So another lapped rider coming through again on the right. Really thankful that they're willing to put in these gigs right now. I'm super tired, so I'll take any help I can get for sure. It's just basically kind of keep it fast. So every time we come through here, I look through the right and try to look through that straightaway, and I could not see a breakaway out there at all. So the best I can tell at this point is that they're at least a half a lap up on us, if not more than that. So I don't really know. So we hit straightaway, and boom, another attack from Paul, from another boxcar rider. I told you this would happen. They're going to start sending out flyers to try to break up this chase group and get another guy into the breakaway. So I've got to cover that again. So I cover Paul, and he's going to swing off, and I've got no choice but to settle the front and work again. I don't know or remember what my TSS was for this ride, but I know that at this point I'm feeling like it's somewhere around 700. I'm definitely burning a lot of matches for sure. So, and then there goes another rider. I think that was Paul again. I'm not totally sure. Big attack on the outside. And that was a well-timed attack. It definitely hurt me. That wasn't Paul. That may have been, I'm not really sure. I didn't get it in. So I'm going to jump on the back and let the chase happen. And I got to be real careful because I'm so tired that if I don't catch that wave on the back of these riders, I could easily get spit off at this point. So those two riders go clear, and they're pretty committed at this point. Like it's like pretty certain that they're gone at this point. So that sucks. It was great timing on their part. Really not much I could do about it, honestly. At this point, though, I'm not really confident in their move because I've been looking through the field and trying to find those breakaway riders, and I haven't been able to see them at least a half a lap up. So, I politely disagree with that move. I don't think that they're going to make it across. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know how they finished. But I had a lot of doubts at this point, just knowing that I was looking through the group and was not able to see the breakaway at any point in time, through the field. So they would have to put a lot of ground on in a very short period of time to be able to. I think that's Paul trying to get somebody to come through. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't think he was talking to me because I did an immense amount of pulling so far. But he's definitely seen some long bills with those riders up there, so he might have been talking to his teammates like, yo, we got to get up here. Those aren't our guys. And with them having 3 guys in this chase group, it is a little bit surprising that they were that they let that go. So, I was kind of anticipating at this point. Here goes Paul. He's kind of making a big effort to try to get it across. Emerson kind of jumps at the same time now. It seems like probably the smart move would have been for everyone to just start working together, especially the ones that were on the same team, and keep trying to bring at least those 2 back, but also the breakaway. So Paul flicks me through. I come through and put in a big dig because they're not very far out there. And both of those guys have a ton of horsepower. So I'm like, man, it's they're just right there, guys. Come on, let's go. We can still pull this back. And if they were able to put it down that kind of distance on us, then that's distance we could have made on the breakaway also if we all would have been working together. So again, a little bit frustrating because we're back here beating ourselves up, and all 3 podium spots are up the road at this point. Now, coming up here pretty soon, let's see, totally sure, I guess it's in another lap or so. So those riders are definitely fully committed to this chase now. So they're putting time on us at this point. Our group is not motivated to catch them, and it's a little bit disappointing. So here goes Paul. He wants to try to get across to that chase group, and rightfully so, because they're slipping away. So he gets on the front, tries to get a little bit of a separation, but he was in that early break, so he's probably got some tired legs right now. He's trying to go for it again, but someone on the front is pulling it back. Looks like Emerson, and closing that gap down. And so we're right back on him again at this point. Coming to the front, and with the Air Force rider, now they are getting a little gap on us. So it's just pandemonium. Like everyone's looking around at everyone. Small gaps, there's no cooperation. This is kind of crit racing at its best, especially in smaller fields. There's not enough people to keep the pace high. Everyone's very aware. Look at there on the left, that's Dempsey. So this was exactly what I was afraid of, that we would get lapped. So that changes our lap count at this point. And he is solo. So he is unhinged, Evan and Rob, which means that now the breakaway is just 2 riders because he's off solo in the lead position. So if we would have stayed together and worked together the entire time, seeing that, there's a high probability that we would have been able to pull back those last 2 riders. Instead, we dogfighted with ourselves and just sat on and really didn't play very good cards at all. So now 2 riders are off, and now we're down to 1 to go instead of two to go because now that we're lapped, that shortens the lap count. So I just said, screw it, Hail Mary, let's see if I can get off these riders now too. So I kind of take this turn right here like a madman, look over my shoulder, see that they're definitely chasing me, and it's not going to happen. So at this point, I'm like, well, maybe if they hesitate, maybe I can slip away, maybe. We'll see, but catching some more lap traffic. Hit this turn, look behind me in the turn, they're definitely on me, so game over for me. We're on the last lap. I'll let them fight it out. There's no podium position to pick from anyway. We ruined our chances on that, and we learned to race another day. So still tons and tons of fun. The course is amazing. Anyone in Tulsa that's watching this, you should absolutely come race it. I think it's like every other Tuesday. I think they're doing it every Tuesday in like September, I want to say. So it's good. Like it's a super fun course. I look forward to doing it again. I think next week there's going to also be a fixed gear race, so I'm hoping to do that too. So tonight, didn't get to take home any of those huge bundles of cash. Just kidding, there's no payout. But we live to fight another day. Everyone got to keep their skin. Got a great workout, and we'll see y'all at the next one. Peace.